UCLA, Josh Rosen comes to town. How do people feel about the Tigers' chances stopping the chosen one, the golden child, whatever you want to call him? I've heard him called many different things. So far this year, he has scored. He has thrown for 9 touchdowns. Granted, that was against a porous Texas A&M defense, who actually had him looking not so good, man, in the first 3 quarters. But they did come back. And they came back and won the game 45-44, hung 45 points on them. So they come into Memphis 2-0, and the Tigers 1-0 after the Central Florida game was canceled. I don't know if that helps Memphis or if that hurts Memphis. I think it helps us in a sense that, we've lost a few guys. We're not getting them back. But Jannard Avery wasn't 100%. He was going to lace up for the game Friday night, but he wasn't 100%. He's back to 100%, which I think is huge. He's the leader of that defense. He's been the leader of that defense since really his sophomore year. I mean, I remember him being kind of the guy out there his sophomore year. So that'll be big for him. And it gives a guy like Tim Hart, guy like Woodson, there's some other names that I can't think of, to get some reps in practice. The one thing that I'm worried about is maybe the physicality. We played Louisiana Monroe. We haven't played that step up in competition yet. So we go into the UCLA game. It's going to be a huge step up in competition. How do the young guys respond to that? The speed of UCLA, the size of UCLA, the strength of UCLA. I think we'll be okay though, man, because I think we're going to show out. I think the crowd's going to show out. They're going to show up and show out, and that's going to help. And all it's going to take, man, if our defense. This is my thing, and I say it a lot usually when I'm talking about what the difference in a game is going to be. I talk about special teams and defense, because it usually comes down to that when the game is won. So, when you're talking about a young quarterback going to a completely foreign environment, I mean, this kid's they're traveling, almost 3,000 miles across the country to play a very early kickoff on national TV. It's his first true road game of the year. Those are all advantages for Memphis. Now, can our defense up front put enough pressure on him? Because if we don't put pressure on him, he's going to pick us apart. I don't care how good your defensive backfield is. I don't know really how good our defensive backfield is. It was hard to tell in the Louisiana Monroe game when you had 45-mile-per-hour winds coming out of the South Tunnel. The ball was literally getting stopped in the air on kickoffs. I don't know if you noticed that. When it was coming off the kicker's foot, it was just literally like stopping rotation in the middle of the air. So it was hard to gauge what our defensive backfield looked like. Now we do have an Oklahoma transfer who went JUCO and is now playing for the Tigers, number 24. I can't remember his last name. Tito. I don't know. Tito Wyndham. He should be good. He can man up on the outside, so that's good that we have that one guy that can supposedly lock you down man to man. I have yet to see with my own 2 eyes. I just know what I've heard. He looked good in the blue-gray game. TJ Carter, and then Austin, number 25, Austin Davis. He looks good, man. He's just a sophomore. So that is a bright spot. But at the end of the day, you cannot leave those guys out there on an island with Josh Rosen standing in the pocket with all day to throw. Because if that happens, the Tigers will walk away losers. So we really have to figure out a way, whether we have to stunt. Move some guys around inside, stunting, twisting, or just literally we're going to have to bring pressure. We're going to have to bring guys, take chances, and put pressure on Rosen. I think if we can get to him early, and if anything, touch him. You know what I mean? If anything, lay some pads on him, even if he does get the ball away, throw it away, even if he does complete a few passes early. If we can just hit him, get back there and make him have to think, and get him a little shaky, that will definitely help. If he has time to get back there and read the defense and throw, it could be a long day for the Tigers. And the reason that worries me is the fact that we've lost Jackson Dillon, we've lost Gentry, we've lost Porter. So how do the guys that step in for them respond, and how does our depth look? Do we have the depth to play an early in the year game? It's going to be nice. I think it's supposed to be 74 degrees at kickoff. The high is, I think, 87 on Saturday. But still, those early games tend to, players tend to cramp up, and but that could affect UCLA too. because they're not used to playing in the humidity here in Memphis. They're used to playing in that dry heat. So it's going to be interesting to see on the offensive side. I think our run game will be fine. Texas A&M experienced a ton of success running on UCLA. I think that our offensive line is just going to be just fine. Our backfield definitely looks good with the guys that we have in the backfield. And then a wide receiver going in, I knew we were going to be okay. We've got seniors there. We've got Anthony Miller returning for his senior year. I expect him to have a huge season. We've got Phil Mayhew on the other side. I hated to see Sam Kraft go out for the year prior to the season, but there's some other guys that are going to step in. And I think we'll be just fine at wide receiver. I think the offensive line will be able to give. UCLA's defense is not the UCLA defenses of the past. They've lost a few guys since 2015 year. They had a really good defense in 15. They didn't have that great of a season, but they had a good defense. I remember them having a good defense, but they lost a few guys to the league. One in particular, I can't think of his name. But so I think we can definitely score points. I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I think we will win. If we win, it'll be in a shootout. But I think it's going to be tight. You know, either way, whoever the winner is, it's going to be tight throughout. You know,
and I'm curious to see how Riley. I think I said this before, but him stepping up to Rosen, you know, in that matchup.
It's going to be a great quarterback. It's going to be a great opportunity for Riley, because you know they're going to be talking about Rosen.
Oh, you know.
You know, it's going to be on, I think, ABC.
Yeah.
Correct. It's going to be on ABC.
The whole country.
The whole country's going to be watching. It's an 11 a.m. kickoff. It's the first game of the day,
Yeah.
and you know, Josh Rosen's playing. So a lot of the country's going to be interested because they want to see this young kid, you know, that's potentially, they're trying to Heisman campaign for him.
Yeah. He's been the guy right now.
So and right now he's making a good statement, you know, as far as that being a legitimate, you know, case. So we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be a great day. I'm super excited, man. I'm gonna be there. I'll be there with my fiance, and she's super excited. 2015, we beat Ole Miss. It was her very first Memphis Tiger football game. She's always been a huge Tiger fan. Never been to a football game. Her first game, we go to Ole Miss, and we storm the field and hang out with the players and get some pictures, and we're going to do it again this week. Now, I don't know if it's a big – let me ask you this, Josh. If the Tigers do knock off number 25 UCLA, do we act like it was just another day on the field and we took care of business, or does the crowd storm the field? I think it kind of depends on how the game goes. I think it depends on how the game goes.
What got me with Ole Miss, right, and that's why I still remember that game, you know, is the fact, one, it was Ole Miss.
Yeah.
You know, you had the rivalry factor there.
Right.
And the other fact was, this was a real turning point in the program.
Oh, man, no doubt.
Because you're talking about, they were both, I think Memphis was ranked too.
Yeah, Memphis was ranked. I think they had just gotten to the top 25, but man, they catapulted. When they beat Ole Miss, they jumped into like the top 15, I think, or top 17.
Memphis was undefeated at that point. And then you had national pundits said, could Memphis be a dark horse for the playoffs?
Sure, they.
And who would have thought you'd hear something like that?
Man, I'll never forget. When they came out with the first BCS poll, and Memphis came in at 13, and I was looking we had Navy.
Yeah.
They were ranked 19 on the schedule. We had Temple. They were in the top 25, and we had Houston. They were in the top 25. After 6 weeks, we had a top 6 win. I believe we were undefeated. Yeah, we were undefeated. We had a top 6 win. We came in at 13 in the BCS, and we still had 3 of our 6 games against top 25 opponents. So I was thinking, you know, I start looking ahead in my mind. I'm a huge Tiger fan. Man, if we just win 2 of those 3 and then win out the rest and go 11-1, do we get into a BCS playoff? You know, does a team from a non-Power 5 conference get in? Is there some teams with 2 losses? You know, and you know, we crumbled. You know, Navy came in. They waxed the floor, and you know, not to toot my own horn, but I called that. You know, I told my fiance, I said we have no chance. I don't think that we can beat Navy. And she, you know, the games that was at home, and I just knew that we don't match up. I feel the same way about this year. I really, and you've heard me say this before. When I look at the schedule and the way it sets up, it reminds me of 2015 to a T. Can we beat UCLA? went out, and then Navy comes to town mid-October. Can we beat Navy? I think the Tigers have to play flawless to beat a team like Navy. That's just my opinion. Navy doesn't make mistakes. They control the clock. They keep your offense off of the field. They know how to do that. They use every second of the play clock. They keep it on the ground. They chew up. They play that ball control triple option, and we just don't match up well, man. We don't play the style on defense, and we don't. We like to score quick. You don't want to score quick on Navy. You know what I mean? That'll wear your defense down.
That's very true.
Because they already wear your defense down.
Yeah.
With that triple option, they're going to already wear your defense down. If the offense goes out on the field and they score quick, you know what I mean? Then by the fourth quarter, the defense is gassed, and that's when Navy takes advantage. You definitely can't make any mistakes. When you play the academies, you cannot make mistakes against them. I don't care if it's Air Force, Army, Navy. They take advantage of mistakes. That they are sound. Mentally and fundamentally, and they play. Their style of play is helmet to helmet, fundamental assignment football. It's real simple. You put your helmet on another helmet, open up a hole and go. And you make a decision on the go. You either give it to them or you keep it. And there's an easy way to stop it. You play assignment football back. But man, all it takes is one person biting, and they're going 80 yards the other way. They bite on a fake, but you just got to play your role when you play guys like that. And it's crazy how Georgia Tech, Navy, Air Force, they still run that old school triple option, and they experience success with it. It's really easy to stop if you just get your guys to play fundamentally sound. That's all you have to do. It's assignment football.
You think it's because the tough part about it is they kind of have you guessing. As far as people's land ball. And, I think a lot of times teams lose patience, because you get beat up, and then there's certain points where, I'm just going after somebody.
Right.
You get the wrong guy, and then the wrong age.
And that's all it takes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. When they run that, fake to the fullback you don't know if they're giving it to the fullback. Then they go down, they bring a guy in motion. They run that weird kind of wing T type or that wishbone, depending on what they do. They'll bring one of the wings that's behind the tight end. They'll bring him in motion. They'll hike the ball. They'll fake it to the fullback. Then they'll go down the line, and then you don't know if the quarterback's going to keep it, pitch it, but all it takes is that end biting 1 second too early. But somebody's got to hit the quarterback. That's the thing. That's what we were taught when I played high school football, and we played a team called Collinwood out of, I think, Central Tennessee, Eastern Tennessee, and they ran that triple option, man. And as a defensive player, as a defensive back / nickel back, playing against those guys, you don't know where the ball's at. So you literally are that week in practice, you hit them regardless. Whether you think they have the ball or not, you got just say like the Mike linebacker or the Will linebacker, your assignment's the quarterback, you hit him whether he has the ball or not. The nickel back or end, if their assignment's on the tailback or wing back, you hit him whether he has the ball or not, hit him. And because you can do that. And that's how you've got to play the triple option. And then you got to be in the middle. You got to be able to stop that fullback up the middle, man. Navy's always had, a big tough fullback that gets those 3 or 4 yards. Whether you hit him at the line of scrimmage, he's going to fall forward. I remember Zach Eccles. Do you remember Zach Eccles? He was a fullback at Navy. When I went to Notre Dame with my dad in South Bend, Indiana, I think it was back in 06, 07. Navy had a guy, number 32. His name was Zach Eccles. He was a beast. I don't know if he ended up going to the league or not, but they've always had a fullback kind of like that who gets the tough yardage. They like to get in third and short situations to where they can give it to him, and then they just wear you down.
I don't know who the fullback was. So I remember, he was a huge guy in the game that we're talking about.
I know. And then they had that quarterback.
Yeah.
God, why is my? I tell you what, man. I'm 35, but I feel like I'm 55 sometimes when it comes to my memory, man, because I remember his number, 19. He was awesome at quarterback. He was actually, I think, for a minute that year, they were talking about him being a Heisman candidate.
Yeah, he was.
He was a Heisman candidate, wasn't he? At the end of the year, did he end up being a Heisman candidate, or was he just being mentioned as one?
I don't know if you
I can't think of who we're talking about, but you know what? I can find out. That's for sure. But it's the thing about it is, Memphis does not match up well against teams like that, big physical teams. Now we don't play a whole lot of teams like that. Keenan Reynolds. That's it, man. And then they had a few. They had a good tailback. They had a good fullback. They had a couple good wing. They run that wing T, if I'm not mistaken, not the wishbone. So where Central Florida, they run that wishbone. Where it's a little bit different, kind of the same, a little bit different, but it's all comes down to assignment football. That week in practice, you have an assignment. You've got to be mentally prepared to carry out that assignment. And if you do that, you can stop them. You can stop Navy. But I don't know. I don't have faith. That game, it glares on the schedule. Just hypothetically, we beat UCLA. We win the games after that. I think Navy could give us some trouble. Call into the show. Feel free. We're talking a little Tiger football. 901-452-3094. 452-3094. Call into the show. We're talking a little Memphis Tiger football. Their big game against UCLA this weekend. We've also got some big SEC games. Tennessee goes on the road to play Florida. Florida is a 4.5-point favorite in that game in the Swamp. We've also got South Carolina playing Kentucky at home for their first home game in Williams-Brice. They started out in a neutral site against NC State with the win, and then they beat Missouri on the road by 18 last week. That was one of my plays. I have a handicapping service. We've got a caller on the line, Bill, calling in. What's going on, Bill? How are you? I'm doing good.
Area with a different style, different approach, not holding on to the old discriminatory thoughts against the Tigers of, they're a horrible program, they're never supposed to win, it's a surprise to win a game.
Right.
On the outside, we're all new, everything new, fresh, and it's and these recruits don't look at anything of the past. They're looking at forward, how good they're playing now, and it's so positive over there. I was over there Friday night after they got back, and those guys are just ready to play some football.
I agree. Bill, I would not be surprised one bit if they win the game. And you know what? The reason that the locker room is like that, they've got some guys this year. I mean, guys like Jannard Avery, guys like Sam Kraft, who although he's hurt, he's still in the locker room. Guys like Anthony Miller, guys like Jackson Dillon, guys like Phil Mayhew. These guys are seniors that have been literally playing ball since they were freshmen. They saw minutes early, and they've been there for 4 years, 5 years in the locker room. And when you have guys like that on both sides of the ball in the locker room, I'm leaving Sharif White, guys like Sharif White, for instance. Him and Jannard came from Grenada. When you've got guys like that on both sides of the ball in your huddle, it keeps the young guys focused. It keeps the young guys, it helps. They're basically like coaches on the field, man. You know what I mean? We have enough experience. We've got enough seniors that have been there, that have been in games, that have experienced success, that have learned how to win ball games, where the culture in the locker room it's the best it's ever been, probably, man. You know what I mean? It really is. And that's a credit to Mike Norvell, but it's a credit to Fuente too, because there's still some leftover from guys that he's brought in, and Fuente started the culture, man. You got to give Fuente credit. I mean, you give Norvell credit. He's going into his second year. You give him credit, but man, some of that is a credit to Justin Fuente and him really changing the culture, getting in the guys that are. We still have some of his guys on this team that started believing that Memphis Tiger football was somebody. They started believing that game at Ole Miss. Granted, we crumbled the last half of the season. They realized that they can play with anybody, because Ole Miss was absolutely loaded that year, and we dominated from start to finish. Man, there's no doubt. I was at the game. We were in control the entire time. From start to finish, we were in control of that game. And if we can do, go ahead. Right. Yeah. I remember. I know. It's different now, though, man. It's different now. It's changed. Fuente changed the culture. Norvell has taken over and done a good job of maintaining the culture. And you can call us homers if they want, Bill, but the Memphis football program has changed. It's not the Memphis of old. And if you can't see that, then you're just not. Then you just dislike the program for whatever reason. Because they definitely have a winning mentality. They have developed a culture there, and kids want to come play here now. Kids want to come play here, and that's all there is to it. We're in the middle of SEC country, and we get good players. Bill, thank you for calling in. We got to go to break. We'll be back. We'll finish up talking up a little bit about Memphis Tiger football. Thank you. I appreciate you calling in, Bill. Take care. We'll be right back, guys. Call into the show, 901-452-3094. Hey, he called in, but he called in my first day, didn't he? That name sounded familiar. I mean, his voice sounded familiar. So, but yeah, I think people are giving Norvell, and I give Norvell a ton of credit, man. But man, you got to give Fuente a lot of credit. He's the one that created that culture here in Memphis, man, that winning culture, and all Norvell. Norvell walked into a great situation. You know what I mean? He really did. He walked into a fantastic situation. I'm not taking anything away from him, but dude, man, Fuente is the one that got things started here in Memphis. There's no doubt about it. So. Have you really? Yeah, I'm working on getting some guys to call in, some of the players that I know on Facebook, Jackson Dillon, Jannard Avery, Anthony Miller. I'm going to try to get them in. They're focused right now. But if I can get them on like a Monday or a Tuesday, get them to call in, talk a little bit, maybe get a hold. I know how to find people, man. I'll hunt their ass down. I'll find out where they're at, and I'll just be like, hey, yo, what's up, man? My name's Andrew Vanelli. Shake their hand. Tell them who I am, tell them a little bit about me, and do it like that, Yeah, that's what, I used to be scared, man, not anymore. There's no reason to just, if this is what I'm going to do, I got to get out there and find the right people, man. I got to get people listening,
Casual wear and accessories.
What's going on, Sean Knott? What's up? Ken Walls, what's up, brother? What's going on, Ken? What's up, Sean? What's up, Mickey? What's up, Susan? Hey, Amanda. I love you. Greg Walker, what's going on? Greg Walker, we might talk a little bit of Ohio State football when I get back. When I get back from break, we might talk a little Ohio State football. I know you guys, Oklahoma's good, man. What can I say? Oklahoma is good. Hey, Susan, I appreciate that. That means a lot. You don't watch sports, but you watch me. I really appreciate it. I love this. I love doing this. I love doing it, and hopefully you can kind of see the passion. Look out, Bristol going to be a young gun at ESPN. My buddy TJ Addis said, look out, Bristol, going to be a young gun at ESPN. Andrew Vanelli is on his way. Yeah, Andrew and Stephen A. What's up, TJ? Thank you, TJ. That means a lot, brother. Luke Parnell, what's going on, bro? Kevin Wright, what's going on? Martin Matthews, what's up? Hey, Mama. What's going on, Mom? Hey, Laura. I don't see you in here, but hey, Laura. Hey, Heather. Hey, Coach Frank. Coach Frank is in the house. Emily Strickland. Hey, Emily, we were talking about you. Not talking about you, but I was talking to Josh, because I know you've been in here with Jet in the early morning. Is she in here every morning with them? Oh, okay. Small world, man. Memphis is a big little city. Jessica Elliott, what's going on? Amanda, I love you. Bobby Ratteri, Mike Chavez, Rachel Johnson. Man, there's a lot of people in here. Jason Howland. Woo! What's going on, brother? Kennedy Gates, what's going on, man? Thanks, everybody, for watching, man. I appreciate all of the support. We're on a little break. Joey Gaia, what's up, Daddy-O? What's up, Daddy-O? Talking a little Memphis Tiger football. We're talking a little college football. I'm about to see what we got here coming up this weekend. Got a big weekend ahead.
Automotive repair.
In college, I don't know. NFL. I started my domination of my dynasty football league. The domination started this weekend. I'm number 1 in my division. I know it's just week 1. I want to thank God, most importantly. Acting like a professional athlete. My fantasy team. I'm in the number 1 spot. I'm leading the league in scoring. Had a big week in week 1. I'm favored to win this week. Yeah. I'll probably lose because I'm talking a lot of mess. But no, man, I boycotted the NFL last year. Dude, I didn't watch a game. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. Because here's my thing. I understand both sides of the fence with the Kaepernick situation. I just think there's a time and place. Man, there's too many young cats that look up to you, man. Like, make your voice heard. When you're out there on that field, man, just don't do that, man. I get why he did it. I understand the message, man. But I just think that you got to do it somewhere else, man. You're living the dream. You're getting paid millions of dollars. I couldn't go out. Say I went out in a WKNO AM730 t-shirt, and I went out somewhere and I acted a fool, and you guys had me under contract, and were paying me a ton of money to represent. You know what I mean? I couldn't do something like that, You know what I'm saying? You just gotta. The country needs to come together, man. That type of stuff. I get it. I get both sides. I understand what he was standing for. And it's hard to disagree with that, but at the same time, man, national TV, you got a bunch of young kids watching that wear your jerseys, that look up to you, because at that time he was a star, kind of. You know what I mean? So, anyways, you can debate it, but I didn't watch any NFL last year, but now that I'm playing fantasy, man, every game is fun. So, hey, where did that other headset go? So they can hear the calls. Here we go. Yeah, they blackballed him. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sports Hour with Ace. I'm your host, Andrew Vanelli. Today's show is brought to you by the award-winning Sheffield Antiques Mall, 684 West Poplar in Collierville. We got 300 dealers bringing an awesome collection of all things chic, unique, and antique merchandise for the discerning collector. The casual shopper and those looking for amazing gifts can find it all at Sheffield. Also, the legendary cuisine of Ronnie Grisani's is available for lunch Monday through Saturday, and fine evening dining Thursday through Saturday. Sheffield Antiques is a totally unique experience where the past meets the present. You can call 901-853-7822, 853-7822, or visit them at www.sheffield-antiques.com. We went to the break talking a little bit about the Memphis Tigers football. We were talking a little NCAA college football, talking a little baseball. The Cleveland Indians are on a 21-game win streak in Major League Baseball, which is very impressive. It's the longest win streak since, I believe, the Oakland A's in 2002, who won 20 in a row. They've got three of their pitchers who are they've got a 1.41 or lower ERA. Carlos Carrasco's 3-0 in 4 starts with 2 runs allowed, 34-1 strikeout to walk ratio, which is absolutely unbelievable. You've got Mike Clevenger, which is he's only allowed 3 runs in his last 4 starts, and then Corey Kluber's 4-0 in 4 starts, 1.41 ERA, including a shutout in the last game. All impressive. So we were talking a little Memphis Tigers football before we went to break. Bill called in, and we were talking about the culture in the locker room. And, like I said, you got to give Mike Norvell a ton of credit for what he's done. He stepped in, but he walked into a good situation, man. You can't deny that. And that's hard. It's weird to say that as a Memphis Tiger fan since I could remember, since I could walk. My dad brought me to the game since I was 2 or 3 years old. And I used to cry, man, when the Tigers lost. And I don't know if you remember those Chuck Stobart days. You were too young. Yeah. But if you remember the Chuck Stobart days, man, we were in every game. We had a top 3 defense. We had a top 5 defense year in, year out. But we would lose 13-10, 6-0. I remember going toe to toe with Arkansas Lost 6-0. Couldn't score 1 point. Couldn't score a field goal. Couldn't score anything. I remember going toe-to-toe with Ole Miss. Toe-to-toe with Mississippi State. We used to always play Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Arkansas to open up the year back then. Back then we were in, I believe, the Great 8 or something. It was a weird, or the Great Midwest or something like that. I think it was the Great 8 or something. And, some of the same teams, Cincinnati, Louisville, Tulane, some of the things have stayed the same. Some things have changed. But I remember going to those games, and when we would lose, I would cry. The Xavier Crawford days, the Larry Porter days, the Steve Matthews, Isaac Bruce, Russell Copeland on defense. Kamal Shakir, Demario Shank. I think that was Rip Shear. Chuck Stobart, Rip Shear, and
You know what I saw? Rip Shear, just real quick. He's with UCLA.
Is he with UCLA? He's bounced around. He's gone to the NFL. He's gone to college. Clay Helton's the head coach at USC now. And look at what he's doing, man. He was the offensive coordinator, I'm not mistaken, after Randy Fichtner. And Fichtner is in Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, with Tomlin.
With Mike Tomlin, yeah. Mike Tomlin. Speaking of Tomlin, what do you think about Tomlin? Is he a good coach or a bad coach? Or has he ridden the coattails of Ben Roethlisberger? We talked about this on the podcast.
Man, that's an interesting question. I've always wondered that.
Man, I think without Big Ben, man,
You don't think
he's not standing on the sidelines right now.
Yeah, they have underachieved some years, where they could have done a lot.
They've overachieved some years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see both sides of what you're saying. They've definitely underachieved, but man, they have overachieved. There's been some miracle type plays, where Big Ben's just thrown it up and they've made a play, and it was a difference in some wins and losses.
He came in a great era of Steelers.
He did.
That defense.
He did.
Malu, Harrison,
Yeah.
when they were at their prime.
Sure.
He's coming in. They had the run game right when they get Big Ben. It was a good time.
It was great timing, man. But I tell you what, this year, they better get in to at least the playoffs, or I don't think he'll have a job. I don't know. That's just my opinion. We were talking a little bit about Memphis Tigers, the culture that's been created, and I was talking with Bill, and you got to give credit to Justin Fuente, folks. Don't forget about Fuente and what he did, because when he came in here, he had nothing. He had nothing. It was Larry Porter, right? Was the coach before?
Yeah.
I love Larry Porter. Great guy. Was a running backs coach down at LSU. He's not a head coach. Okay? Justin Fuente walked into this, and it was an absolute mess. There was nothing in the cupboard. He had nothing to work with. And in 2 years, I think he turned it around. We were in a bowl, right?
Yeah.
2 years of getting his guys, turned it around, changed the culture in the locker room, developed a winning mentality. The kids started believing that they could win. A team like Ole Miss comes in. We knock off a top 6 opponent. They really start believing. Granted, they crumbled down the stretch that season. They felt some pressure that they'd never felt before, man. Can you imagine seeing your name? You're sitting at home. You're 20 years old, 21 years old, and ESPN breaks out the first BCS list, and you see your name up there as number 13, and then you look at your schedule. How could you not look ahead and see, man, we've got Navy, we've got Houston, we've got Navy, Houston. Who was the other one that was ranked in the top 25? I just said it earlier. Anyway, Temple. That's right. It was Temple. And all 3 of those teams are in the top 25. So you're looking at the potential. You're sitting at 13. You've got 3 more top 25 matchups in the last 6. That's a real discussion. That's a real discussion. So, and it didn't happen. We didn't do what we could have done, because we definitely had the talent. But this year, that's why I always say this year reminds me of 2015. We've got the talent. I hate that we've lost some guys up front. We've got the talent back. We've got the game early on, and UCLA coming to town, number 25 on national television, a chance to show the country. It's the first game of the day, and we're playing a guy that's picked to be the Heisman.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Only difference I'll say to what you're saying, I agree with everything, is the defense. Because Memphis defense at that time, remember with Fuente, was a huge strength. Even though the offense was really good, but the defense was top 5 in the country type good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this team has the potential to do that right now.
Right.
But
especially losing 3 guys up front. That's my biggest concern. But then again, we haven't seen the young guys. Fuente left recruiting good, and most of those guys stayed. when Norvell showed up, and then Norvell's got 2 years of his guys now. Granted, they're young, but man, we have got some sophomores on that team that are playing big roles. So we'll see what happens, man. But that goes back to the culture in the locker room. This year is a very unique situation because you've got guys on both sides of the ball that are seniors, that have been in these situations, that can keep the young guys calm, and composed and poised, which is going to be huge. I mean, the emotions are going to be high. It's going to be, when that game kicks off Saturday, the emotions are going to be high. We've got the guys that are going to be there to calm the young guys down, keep them composed, keep them focused. And I really do believe that we can go out there and beat UCLA. I really do. I mean, A&M is not a good football team. And A&M was up 34 on them. You know what I'm saying? And they are not a good football team. You heard it here. You heard me on my SEC West preview show before the season started. You can go to YouTube and find it. It's dated. It's before kickoff when I did it. And I said Texas A&M would be 5-7, 1-7 in the SEC West. I said Missouri would be terrible. I said Arkansas would be terrible. All that looks to be holding true. But Texas A&M is not a good football team, and UCLA was down by 34 to them. Now, I know they came back, but they're not coming back down on the road. 3,000 miles away from home, I think they said 47,000 fans are expected to be there. I don't know why it's not in the 50s. And I could be wrong on that. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. Don't hold me to that because that was a few days ago when I heard that was the tickets sold, I believe. Was like right around 47,000. I don't know why there wouldn't be 60 there. The reason there were 60 plus there at the Ole Miss game is because 20,000 of them were Ole Miss fans. 25,000 of them were Ole Miss fans. I don't know how well UCLA is going to travel across the country for a game that, and then is UCLA looking ahead?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those kids could be looking ahead. I don't know who do they have next. I don't know who they have next, but a program like UCLA can definitely be like Memphis. They might not be familiar with who Memphis has. They better not be looking ahead though, because if they're looking ahead, they've got a big surprise coming. I tell you that much. But I think we'll be ready. Like I said, the culture's there. We've got the seniors on the team, to help keep the young guys poised. They've got Stanford next, so that's huge, guys. That's huge. I'm glad that you pulled that up. So UCLA's got Stanford on deck, and that game is on the road. Wow, that's tough. On the road at Memphis, on the road at Stanford, come home to play Colorado, and then they go to Arizona and Oregon. Man, all right. Well, so they got Stanford on deck. So is UCLA looking ahead? If UCLA is looking ahead at that game on the road at Stanford next week, because it's a conference game, that they might not be looking at this game as a big deal. They might think they can come in town, light us up. They might be looking at, who did Memphis play? They played Louisiana Monroe so far. They were off last week. They beat Louisiana Monroe by 9. Not having any idea. I'm sure the coaches do a good job of keeping them focused. But, at the end of the day, they're kids. You know what I mean? I remember being a kid, and I remember one game in specific. I played for St. Benedict at Auburndale. We're 4-0. My junior year, we're 4-0. We just knocked off Bishop Byrne in a huge game, a huge division game at Bishop Byrne. I think we beat them 14-8. We were down 8-6 late in the fourth, and we beat them. And we go into a Saturday afternoon game at Catholic because Catholic didn't have lights at their field, and it was our time to go there. And the bus didn't, so we played a 1 o'clock Saturday game as opposed to a Friday night game. We're used to playing Friday night every Friday night. We'd never played a Saturday game. It was a 1 o'clock kickoff in the middle of the summer, and the bus didn't show up. Okay, the bus didn't show up. We all pack our cars, all the juniors and seniors pack our cars full of pads. We drive over to Catholic High over on McLean, and we go out on the field. We're way more talented. We should beat them by 5 touchdowns, and they beat us 14-7. We didn't win another game the rest of the year. We finished the year 4-6. We did make it into the playoffs, and then got throttled by Hugh Freeze coach Briarcrest Saints. I think 39-0. And your boy Ace had 3 touchdowns scored on him by their wide receiver. Yeah, I got torched. I didn't have any, man. We couldn't put any pressure on the quarterback. I was out there on an island against a guy that, this kid was unreal, man. He took me to school a few times in my career. Yeah. He had a full ride to UT. and he ended up playing baseball. Yeah, he had a full ride to University of Tennessee, and he was real little. He was a real little quick guy. I couldn't hold him. I don't think anybody could hold him. Really, but he broke my ankle a couple times. Just being honest. But yeah, Hugh Freeze was the coach there at Briarcrest, and we went on the road to play Catholic, and we're 4-0. We're on top of the world. We just beat Bishop Byrne on the road. We're looking good. We play a game on a Saturday afternoon, and man, we couldn't get anything going. And Catholic beat us, man. They beat us. It's crazy how I can remember stuff like that, going back to the high school days. But we did not win another game that year. So we started out 4-0, ended up 4-6. Got drilled by Hugh Freeze coached Briarcrest team that was loaded. Calling the show 901-452-3094. So the whole point in saying that, if UCLA is looking ahead, we're playing a Memphis team, they've only got one game under their belt. They barely got by Louisiana Monroe, which is not true. If you watch the game, we controlled that game from start to finish. The conditions were terrible, so you couldn't really gauge our performance on that. If they're looking ahead, they're in for a long day. Feel free to call into the show, guys. 901-452-3094. I want to take a moment to recognize my featured sponsor today, Sheffield Antique Mall, 684 West Poplar in Collierville, as well as the legendary cuisine of Ronnie Garzani's. We are open Monday through Saturday, as well as fine evening dining Thursday through Saturday. Tonight we're running a special. Be sure to come out from 5 to 9. I work there, so you can catch me there at Ronnie Garzani's. We would be glad to serve you excellent food. 684 West Poplar Avenue, 853-7822. Or you can go to www.sheffield-antiques.com and get some more information. That is my featured sponsor. If you are interested in sponsoring the show, feel free to call me, 901-900-9315. I do have a few sponsors now, Ronnie Garzani's, Sheffield Antique Mall. I was happy to announce my new sponsor, High Point Pizza, on my Wednesday afternoon show. They are going to be the featured sponsor. I'm looking for sponsorship, so feel free to call me or email me, andrew@vanelli.net. I also provide a handicapping service. If you're interested in sports advising, I can help you get a winning edge against your bookie, or I can help your offshore account quit taking money out of yours. So give me a call or email me, and I will respond as soon as I can. We're talking a bit about Memphis Tigers since it's my last show of the week. We're talking a little bit about college football, the big games this week. Let's talk Tennessee, Florida to close out. Tennessee goes on the road to play Florida. Florida is kind of like Memphis in a way. They've only played one game this year. They got beat by Michigan down in Texas. Their offense was absolutely abysmal. They scored 17 points, but 2 of those were off interceptions that I believe were returned for touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. I think they scored 14 points on defense, so their offense scored a whopping 3 points. Granted, it was Michigan, and they got a tough defense. But Tennessee goes on the road to play Florida. Down in the Swamp, 4.5-point favorite. Florida's listed as a 4.5-point favorite at home. Who do they put at quarterback? I know Felipe Franks is definitely the future, the redshirt freshman. He's got all the mechanics, and I believe he's going to be good. But they've got a fifth-year senior, Malik Zaire. So do you go with the experience? It's an SEC game. I know if I was the head coach, I would go with the experienced guy. I would go with the guy that has college, that has D1 minutes. And then if it didn't work out, then go with Franks.
See, that's what I was about to ask you. You go ahead and take the risk, right? Because you do that later in the
right.
season.
Well, here's the thing. This is what I believe McElwain's thinking. And he's an excellent coach, man. He stepped right in when Muschamp left. He stepped right in. He's won back-to-back SEC East titles. But I think he's looking at it like, do I go with this fifth-year graduate transfer in Zaire and not give Franks the minutes and maybe go back to the SEC title for the third time? Or do I take a chance with Franks and what is, in my opinion, kind of a watered-down East, man? The East is not looking that good outside of Georgia this year. I mean, you're talking about South Carolina or Tennessee as your potential third spot or contender to take the top spot. I'm sorry, man. I just don't think that either one of those teams is ready. People don't confuse me talking about South Carolina and being high on South Carolina. That's the first half of the season that I'm high on them. I've got them going 7-5, 8-4. I think. I think they start out really well. They have started out really well, and then I think they crumble down the last half of the stretch. They've got a great quarterback. They've got who I believe is the best wide receiver in the SEC. If you haven't heard of him, his name's Deebo Samuel. You know, we can talk about that at the end of the year. You know, whether or not that statement holds true. They got a good backfield. It's very tough to go win at Williams-Brice Stadium, and they got 7 of those 12 at home. 7 of those 12 at home, and they've already won the neutral site. So they only played 4 true road games, and they've already won their neutral site and one of those road games. So they've got 3 road games. They've got 10 games left. 3 of them are on the road. How do you not win 6 more games?
Yeah.
You know, they're 2. How do you not go 8-4? You know, when you only play 3 more road games, and you've got the next 7 out of 10 at home, and that's, you know, that was my argument. You know, people had them at 4th or 5th in the East, and on the podcast, you know, with Quentin and them, you know, I kind of mentioned that South Carolina was my dark horse type team, or maybe a team that could be in the BCS discussion as a surprise team. You know, week 6, week 7, and then I said they crumbled, and you know, I kind of got laughed at a little bit, that's fine, because, you know, maybe I'll get the last laugh. You know what I mean? But I definitely got laughed at a little bit. But and that's fine, because it's easy to go with what everyone else is saying. It's hard to go against the grain, though. You know, and I'm going against the grain. I got Auburn 3rd in the West. But when I look at their schedule, you know, they already went on the road to Clemson. I knew they would lose that game. I knew they would lose that game. I mean, I was very confident that they couldn't go with Stidham. You know, he's learning. I mean, I know the kid's going to be good, but he's only played. It was his 2nd game in that environment, in that system. Gus Malzahn has a very, very complicated playbook, and their OC. I don't know why his name always slips my mind, but you know, it's a complicated playbook. You know, Jared Stidham has a bright future in front of him. I don't want you to misconstrue what I'm saying. You don't just walk into Clemson, your 2nd game in an Auburn Tiger uniform, and go there and win. I don't care how good your defense is. I don't care how good the guys around you. There is a learning curve there, and we saw that. They scored 6 points. That curve is tough. And hey, look, it might. You know, they're going to lose 3 games at the end of the day. They're going to go 9-3 at best. If they go any better than that, then you can say, Ace, you were wrong. I give everyone permission. The number's 452-3094. Feel free to call in. And if I'm wrong, you know, give me help. We're going to end the show, guys. Go Tigers, go. I want to end. It's my last show of the week, so I want to end with the Go Tigers, go. Very excited about the game. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Sports Hour with Ace. I'm your host, Andrew Vanelli. You can catch me on Monday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I will see you guys then. Have a blessed rest of the day, Friday, and weekend. Peace. Thanks for all the hearts. Love all the hearts. Who's dropping all those hearts? If I had to guess or bet, I would bet it would be Karen Vanelli and Amanda Phelps. Sean Knight's dropping them. Sean Knight's dropping the hearts. Thank you guys for all the hearts. Thanks for watching. Justin Myers, what's going on, brother? Jimmy and Devin Bush, thank you for watching.